Now, without further ado, let us begin tonight's event. So for just a little context and background for SDG 7, development requires energy to fuel the engine of growth. Therefore, energy is critical while the demand for cheap energy is increasing as the world population grows. A development and economy that is reliant on fossil fuels continues to create significant impact on our climate, and this is just one side of the story. A UN report in 2018 suggests that 789 million people around the world lack access to electricity around the world. And in times in this pandemic era, affordable and reliable energy is critical for health facilities. Therefore, investing in sustainable energy, improving energy productivity, ensuring energy availability for all is super vital, considering our targets to be achieved by 2030. On that note, infrastructure and technology needs to be improved to provide clean and more efficient energy in order to support growth and help the environment.
And so to discuss what, again, real world tangible solutions that are needed to accelerate change for SDG number 7 and what the status quo is and what needs to be done, please join me in welcoming our incredible lineup of speakers today who are also a part of Youthtopia Circle of Youth, right? There is Reyhan Jamalova and Elok Mutia. A little virtual applause for the ladies here. Maybe you guys can get into it as well in the Zoom reaction buttons. Let me give you a chance to, of course, introduce yourselves briefly, and then we can start off with the first question. Maybe we can start with Reyhan and then Mutia. Reyhan, please.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today with you and have a discussion on sustainable energy. I'm super excited. Well, let me just introduce myself a bit. I'm Reyhan Jamalova from Baku, Azerbaijan. I'm 18 years old and I'm the founder of Reynergy, a project that aims to solve the problem of energy deficiency in rural parts of rainy countries by providing the communities living there with generators that produce electricity from rainwater. At the same time, at Reynergy, we aim to lower the amount of CO2 levels on the environment.
Amazing. Just 18 years old. Was that right, Reyhan? Did I hear that correctly? Wow. When I was 18 years, I don't even want to think about what I was doing at 18 years old. Clearly not what amazing things that you're doing right now. That's great. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's go to Mutia, please. Mutia.
Okay. Hi. Thank you, Nema. Hi, everyone. My name is Elok Mutia, but I know my name is hard to spell, so just call me Mutia. I'm from Indonesia. I'm part of Enter Nusantara. Enter Nusantara is an organization that works on climate crisis, focusing on energy transition issue. We raise awareness, educate youth with knowledge and skill. We also engage and organize youth movement. And the last is we also do implementation, equal and sustainable clean energy. Thank you.
Great. Another applause right there for another Indonesian heroine here in the energy sector. Great to have you here, Mutia. And now let's just dive into the first question of the night. You know, this is kind of a hot potato style, whoever wants to take it first and answer the first question. But the first question is, what does affordable and clean energy mean to the both of you in just 3 words? Again, I'm going to suggest don't cheat here and say affordable and clean. Let's not reuse that, but think about it. Let's pass this hot potato to Mutia first. What do you think, Mutia? 3 words.
Okay, 3 words mean, it's not harm for people. 3 words, not harm for people. 3 words, right?
That's good. That's a mini sentence with 3 words. In Indonesian, they say singkat, padat, jelas, right? It's compact, clear, crystal clear even. Yeah. So thank you for that, Mutia. How about you, Reyhan? 3 words.
A net zero sustainable future.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good. I'm gonna write that one right here in my notes. Zero sustainable future. That's what we're all about here in Youthtopia and Unite, right? We think about the future and how we all can contribute to that, and it's all sustainable.
Exactly.
And hopefully that will happen soon, right? By 2030. All right, let's move on. What do you think, Emma? We have a second question here.
All right, let's dive deep into this. What do you guys think is the status quo of SDG 7 in the world and specifically in your country or your community? Perhaps we can start with Reyhan.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Well, I would like to start with, describing the problem in the world. There is a huge problem of energy deficiency right now in the world. As Emma mentioned, millions of people right now lack the access to electricity. And the number is very huge. And it means that in a world where we cannot imagine living without having an access to internet and to electricity, those communities live something we consider impossible. I mean, the problem itself affects these communities badly from different aspects, as it weakens their children's education and it leads several serious health problems, since these communities most of the time use alternative lighting sources like kerosene lamps, which are the major source of pollution, and as a result, it affects their health badly and the environment they live in badly. And at the same time, I mean, like, imagine when it's dark, it gets darker, they are not able to do anything anymore. Day ends when it gets darker. So the children are not able to study efficiently, effectively, and adequately because of the lack of electricity. So the problem is very huge. But along with the problem of energy deficiency, there is another global challenge in our world right now. Despite the pandemic and its negative repercussions, the climate change continues to be the pressing issue of our modern society. You know, the floods, the droughts, the forest fires, the storms within the last decade are a terrifying reality for us. And if the temperature levels rise by another 1.5 degrees Celsius, the fallout will be catastrophic for our world. So, you know, the SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy, is a solution to both the alternative to both the to solve the problem of energy deficiency, but at the same time to tackle the problem of climate change. So it's very important. And right now we can see that right now the governments and the NGOs and the businesses are shifting their policies, and they just make sure that they acquire much greener technologies, and they right now use alternative energy resources. And it's good to see that right now world's energy production, the 27.3% of the world energy production comes from alternative energy resources. And I'm sure that this number is going to increase each year substantially. Well, in my country, I'm very lucky to live in a country whose 100% of the population has an access to electricity. This is cool, but what's a little bit concerning is the way we generate electricity. Unfortunately, Azerbaijan for years, for centuries, has relied on fossil fuel industry and oil and gas industry. So our nation's full energy production comes from fossil fuel industry, which is very harmful to the environment by emitting more than 1,100 grams of carbon dioxide per kilowatt. And so it's a little bit sad to see, but the good news is that in recent years, the government is really interested in the use of alternative energy resources. And there is an alternative energy agency under Ministry of Energy, and they are really working and acquiring green technologies in this regard. So let's see what's going to happen. I'm sure that in coming years, in near future, my nation's energy production come from alternative energy sources. Let's hope.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight. I especially loved how you mentioned how electricity inevitably affects education, health problems, and also the climate change. I'm going to pass it over to Mutia. What is the status quo of SDG 7 in your country or community?
Yeah, I also have like a good news and bad news about the current situation in SDGs number 7, but I will start with the good news first. If we seeing the world situation, it's good news because the world has made striking progress in increasing access to electricity. Now, since like 2018, the access of electricity is 90% in the world. So it's also happened in Indonesia. In Indonesia, in 2020, the electrification rate is almost 100%. So it's good news And the second good news is renewable energy consumption also has grown fastest in the last 3 years. So it's good news. But the bad news is with the current and planned policies and trend, I think it will not be enough to meet the goals. In fact, under the scenario, I think none of the target is reached by 2030. Why? Because the first thing, I think the interpretation of energy access, not only we, but most of the country, including Indonesia, often narrowly interpreted energy access as a connection of the grid, access to LPG distribution, and also the availability of basic lighting. So just basic lighting. However, as essential services, we believe that energy access should be able to contribute the poverty alleviation, economic growth, and also a general development agenda. So we can also see during COVID-19 pandemic like this, energy is so important for education and also health services. So rather than use the binary count like quantitative numbers, it should be based on the quality of the energy itself. So I think we need beyond of the connection. And the second problem in Indonesia, we have some political will issues, and also yeah, Asta like okay, okay. Indonesia, unfortunately, is the coal still majority of Indonesia power generation. The government planned to nearly double the installed capacity of coal plant over the next decade. So I think it will be hard for Indonesia to achieving the goals of SDGs number 7 because the government itself doesn't have political will to implement the renewable energy.
I love this honesty coming from the both of you, right? I love it because this is how we learn, right? I want to point out a few things just from the answers from the two of you earlier. First thing is that Emma pointed out earlier as well is that there's a common thread between your answers and the status quo is that more education is needed and that the energy sector needs to be pushed by awareness, by education on affordable and clean energy. And that is very important. That's why we're here, right? And Unite, that's why we are spreading awareness about this. This is what Utopia is all about. We're here to share knowledge between one another through peer-to-peer education. That is why we're here. And I love how you pointed that out. That is very important. But sadly, in the bad news side of things from both of your answers is that I agree with what Mutia mentioned about how we're still, especially in Indonesia, I know that I feel like Azerbaijan is leading a little bit more, right? Leading ahead in terms of this sector compared to Indonesia. I think Azerbaijan has the 4th largest solar field in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, that I've read. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. We're here to learn.
I think no.
No? Oh, well, gotta fact check each other. Thank God we have Reyhan here, but that's good, right? We're on the way there. But with Indonesia, I love how Mutia pointed out that we're still missing that bridge, that bridge of understanding that energy is not simply just powering up houses, powering up factories, and really producing economic growth, but making sure that it's sustainable, that it is clean, and of course affordable at the same time. And I know that our administration has achieved that, but we need to make sure that it's clean and also sustainable. And so moving on to my next question, what I'm really curious about is, talking about that bridge, right, and relating it to the targets of the SDGs itself, like Mutia mentioned earlier, we can see that, I have the fact sheet here in front of me as well about the SDGs, that the targets are only very minimal. And I feel like, you two might have a say in these targets on how they can be more relevant to the situation right now with COVID-19 and what the priorities are moving forward. So I want to know what you girls think on, are there any targets that need to be renewed, that perhaps new targets that need to be added? What do you all think? Let's start with Mutia again.
Okay, I think it's not totally renewed, but I said before, maybe we need to focus beyond connection. We need focus on the quality of energy itself, because the problem of the SDGs number 7 is we calculating the number of universal access using like a head count or binary count. So it's like me getting access, you getting access, everyone getting access, but I'm just getting access like just 1 hour for electricity, and you just get like you have a privilege maybe like 10 hours to have energy. So it's not totally renew, but it's more equal and focus on the quality. I think it's more it's more focusing beyond connection, I think.
Yeah, love that. Thank you for your answer. Let's pass it over to Reyhan. Do you think any of the SDG targets need to be renewed?
Well, I can't say like they need to be renewed, but what I wanted to talk about how we can achieve these targets by 2030 and what we need to achieve them, like what we need to do to achieve these goals. Well, I think, in my opinion, from my vantage point, I think the key crucial factor to achieving the goals and targets by 2030 in SDG number 7 is the collaboration between the governments and the large businesses and industries, which most of the time brings out very crucial agreements like the Paris Agreement and the Green New Deal Agreement and etc. And such forces are very important to support and to empower the development of eco-friendly, innovative, and clean technologies and solutions in energy sector. So, like there are many ventures, small ventures at different stages of development that can largely decarbonize the sectors that use fossil fuel as their raw material. However, these small ventures cannot achieve the goals and targets by 2030 by themselves. They need policymakers to help them and to provide them with vital funds and legislative aid. Well, in my case, Reenergy was just a simple idea that has slipped away had I not sought the assistance and funds needed to improve it from the Alternative Agency of Azerbaijan or the Global Good Fund or the Islamic Development Bank, who collectively contributed $100,000 to my efforts. So, I mean, there are many individuals, young people with innovative ideas, brilliant ideas, yet they don't have the support they need to turn their raw ideas into sustainable products. So that's why I think that to achieve the goals by 2030 in energy in the SDG number 7 is the collaboration and is investing in green ideas. And I think the collaboration is important in achieving all the sustainable development goals and including the SDG number 7 as well.
Love that. Love that so much. Thank you, Mutia and Reyhan, for giving that perspective. Again, maybe not necessarily we need to renew or add new targets for this SDG, but really just changing that mindset, right? That again, we need to move past that mindset of just continuously pushing more productivity, but also focus on sustainable productivity. And at the same time, invest in new innovative models for productivity, invest in new green ideas, as Reyhan mentioned earlier, and really explore collaboration throughout the different sectors, whether it's through the public sector, private sector, international organizations, and of course, like the two of you at the grassroots, right? That's what we love. That's what we're here to learn more from the two of you. And so I want to take a little, just a step back a little bit from our discussion and want to know more about what the both of you do, right? What is it like at the grassroots when it comes to discussing and tackling this issue of making sure that the world has access to clean and affordable energy? Maybe Reyhan wants to tell us a little bit more on the grassroots, on the work that you do, any recent stories on related to this SDG?
Well, of course, that's a great question. Well, my interest to alternative energy resources and, like searching the global challenges and what I can do, to tackle these issues. At the age of 14, I just had this idea of why people don't get electricity from rainwater. This was just prompt on my mind and led me to find the idea of Reenergy. Right now, more than 1.5 billion people live in rainy countries, and 33 million of these people don't have or have very little access to electricity. So again, this energy deficiency problem leads to several really serious problems, as I mentioned before: the lack of quality education, health problems, inability to develop as much as other parts of the world, So thinking about all these problems, at Reynergy, we aim to increase the access to electricity in these impoverished parts of rainy countries. But at the same time, we aim to contribute to tackling the climate change issue by lowering the amount of greenhouse emission on the environment. So this is exactly what we do at Reynergy. Let me talk about a little bit what Reynergy is and how it works. Well, Reynergy has a simple working mechanism, as it collects the rainwater with the help of rain collector on the top and fills the water tank beneath with rainwater, which then goes through the electricity generator and generates electricity through the motion created by the wheel. Then people can use this electricity immediately by connecting the device to the network, and also we can store this amount of electricity in the accumulator, specifically gel batteries, so that people can use this electricity when it's not raining. So the Reynergy is right now in the prototype stage, as we are developing the prototypes and trying to increase the efficiency of the generator so that we can get much electricity from the same amount of rainwater. And till now, we have built 3 prototypes, with the last one giving us 120 watt of power if the rotor's rotation speed is 180 cycles per minute. Right now, we are developing our 4th prototype, and we are planning to test it in one of the most rainiest region of Azerbaijan, in Lankaran. And after initially testing it in Lankaran, we are aiming to test it in one of the rainy countries. Maybe, as Emma mentioned, in Indonesia, the rainiest part of Indonesia, it can happen. So let's see. We are really, we have a slogan, and it's light up one house at a time. And by lighting up one house at a time, we aim to give the communities and the children who are not happy, who are not living the life they imagine, their hope, their light. So I hope that we'll achieve this goal.
That's so amazing. I love the things you do, the cause that you do it for. And honestly, I'm very down to do it. I live in the rainy city of Indonesia. Let's move this question, pass it on to Mutia. I think she is back. Please tell us a little bit more of what you work on, the causes you do, and how does it contribute to achieving the goals of SDG 7?
Basically, if we talk about energy issues in Indonesia, we know that energy issues is like elitist issue or like political issues. It's not common issues that we are talking in the like coffee shop, like, hey, what's up? How about your energy source in your home? Is like just like that. It's different with the the other environmental issues. So it's a little bit difficult to us to enter Nusantara work in the energy issues. The first thing about what we want to do is to educate the people in Indonesia about energy issues. That energy is important, energy is in our daily life, and we also have a right to demand what energy source that must Indonesia use. So far, for implementation, my team and I in Enter Nusantara have several programs to in implementation of renewable energy. Start in the 2015 or 14, we implement the solar PV in Dayak Iban. Maybe for Indonesian people, Dayak Iban is like indigenous people in the Kalimantan that still live in the forest and have strong relation with the forest. We implement solar PV for their houses because they don't have electricity. So if you want to study at night, they must use like a lamp, but from fuel, something like that. And within this year, we have 2 programs for implementation of renewable energy. The first, for support of education, we implement solar PV also in the 10 pesantren. Pesantren is like Islamic boarding school, like everyone's going to the boarding school, but learn about Islamic thing. And the second, we try to make a model of green economic recovery, as we know that we now face a recession of economy, and we think that the model of green economic recovery is important So we make a model of green economic recovery that use implementation of clean, sustainable, and equal energy like solar PV, mini hydro, and then the others technology. So last month we just finished implement 3 technologies in different rural area, also for support food security.
Amazing, the work that you both do. And Reyhan's only 18 years old and everything is rolling so fast for SDG 7. I love how, I just want to point out that, you know, the two of you are tackling this issue in different avenues too. Like with Reyhan, with Reynergy, right? You guys are already building prototypes and slowly scaling up throughout Azerbaijan and maybe even Indonesia, who knows? Right? Potential collaboration between us here. I don't know, maybe just suggesting it, right? Who knows? But I love it. I love that that's the avenue that you're taking with Reynergy, but with Mutia and Nusantara, that's also a similar model in some ways, right, with your programs, but you're also tackling, you know, at least in the context of of Indonesia, and a lot of times the root cause of the issue of this issue that we're talking about, which is the political economy, right? You're also raising awareness about the whole political context of why this issue and the changes that we need to see is not being recognized and solutions aren't being pushed through the door. And so I really appreciate how you both really explore the different avenues on how this issue can be tackled. And now I want to expand that a little bit more. And I'm interested to see what you both think about what needs to be done by industry and world leaders, right? Because we already mentioned a little bit of political economy here. How about you, Reyhan? What do you think world leaders and industry leaders can do?
Well, I think that, as I mentioned before, like the world leaders can do is just the support. They can just give support to the ventures and small ventures that are now working on this sector, like the alternative energy and the green technologies. They can give their support and they can just collaborate with these businesses and industries. And I think it's very important. For example, even in my country, like there are many, like the people or the small ventures that really have a great potential, but sometimes they don't know the direction. I mean, they have the idea, they have the great idea that has a great potential for, for achieving the goals, but they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do and they don't know the direction they have to go. So in this manner, I think the government support and the world leaders support is very crucial for, giving the directions to these ventures and to just supporting these people and creating a chance for their projects, their ideas to turn into a ground projects and sustainable products so that they can contribute to to achieving the goals and tackling the climate change and in SDG number 7. So I think, again, I have to mention that collaboration is very, very crucial in SDG number 7 in achieving the goals. So I think this is what world leaders, this is what we are waiting from world leaders. This is the support and the collaboration.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's move it over to Mutia. What about you? What do you think? What are 3 things industry leaders, or maybe more or less, industry leaders and world leaders should do and implement in order to accelerate change to meet SDG 7 by 2030?
I think the answer from the Reyhan is also really great, support and collaboration. In Indonesia, the more important the world leader need is the market, the demand of the market, because in Indonesia, the renewable energy is like not affordable, not reliable, because if you like searching renewable energy in Indonesia, you will find a lot of conflict, a lot of like issues, environmental issues and price issues, and also a lot of policies issues. So I think what the leader should be is make a policy that support young generation to make invention, support the implementation of the renewable energy, and also support people to more knowing or more educate about the renewable energy.
Agreed. I think, again, at the end of the day, it really speaks true to the 17 SDGs as a whole. I feel like that's the essence of what I got from both of your answers is that they are interlinked, right? We need education on this issue coming down from the top to the bottom and also vice versa. We need that support. We need SDG 17 to happen, right? Collaboration through the different sectors, whether it be private or public. And at the same time, I love what Mutia mentioned about, especially in the context of Indonesia and perhaps in Azerbaijan as well and other countries, is that we need that demand from the public too. And most of the time that also needs to be driven by political and economic will from the top as well, right? Because I think I read a comment here from our chat section. They're going wild right now. Everyone's sending in comments and questions. I think what's his name here? Yusuf mentioned that the challenge is we really need a massive mental revolution with regards to this issue, right? We need everyone to be on the same page. And at times for developing countries, right, maybe even for other countries as well, but I'm speaking mainly for Indonesia, is that it really does need to come from the government. Really, those who are at the top, who are at the forefront, needs to lead that mental revolution so that we can have access to clean and affordable energy, right? And I think it's time for us to pass it to the audience, actually, because I think we've covered a lot from our discussion right here, and I'm already taking lots of notes. As you can see, if I'm looking down, I'm not checking my phone, I promise. I'm just, taking my notes here because I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure Emma is as well, and you both are from each other. But let's pass it back to the audience, right? Because we see a lot of good questions here, and I want to call out a specific audience member right now called Balgista. If you're out here, girl, we recognize you, or guy, we're not sure yet, but we see you. You've been supporting us throughout Youthtopia Unite, for the past 6 days and now day 7. So we want to hear from you what your question is. Feel free to unmute yourself, turn on your video, and we'll hopefully our speakers can answer your question. Can we see Balgi? Oh, there she is. Hello. Can you hear us, Balgista?
Yes, clearly.
Yes, we can hear you too. Awesome. Welcome. Again, we see you. We recognize, we appreciate you so much for your support throughout these 7 days. I mean, Malati and the team has been like, oh my God, Balgista, thank you for your support. But anyways, enough yappity yap for me. I give it to you.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to these amazing speakers. So I'm gonna directly to the question. So you guys have already mentioned about what is the world leaders and the industrial need to be done. So my question is, what can we do as an individual to accelerate the SDG 7 in our daily life? As we know, this is really important to be done for the sustainable lifestyle. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Balgista. All right, let's pass it on maybe to Reyhan first.
Yes, thank you so much, Balgista, for your great question. Well, I think that what we can do as individuals is very small, tangible actions that we can do that can lead to greater results in SDG number 7 and achieving those goals. Well, the first of all, I can say that, right now, I think the first advice would be like, let's be conscious on the usage of electricity. I'm sure that all of us on this call, have some privileges. I mean, we have the access to internet, we have the access to electricity, we have the access to many resources and opportunities and chances to develop ourselves. And sometimes all these privileges can make us a little bit arrogant in the usage of, our sources. Sometimes we can waste our resources and the things we have, without thinking that, like, many people, millions of people in the world may not have the resources that we have. Or for example, in the electricity regard, there are millions of people that lack the access to electricity and the internet. So I think it's important to be conscious and to be grateful for the sources we have and to feel the empathy for the people who lack these resources and, conscious on the use of electricity. I mean, it's a very small actions, like turn off the devices when it's not needed, turn off the light, turn off the appliances. It's very tangible and small actions, but actually it can lead to greater results. And this is my first advice. And my second advice would be, let's educate ourselves about the clean and affordable energy, because it's very important to learn about the issues and global challenges that the society is facing today, and to know about these challenges and what can we do to, you know, tackle these issues or contribute to solve these problems. And because the tomorrow and the future is dependent on us, as a young leader. So we have to develop ourselves and share our knowledge within our community to raise awareness in sustainability as well. So it's very important. So in a nutshell, I would say that let's just, you know, be conscious on the electricity use, be grateful for what we have, and not waste our resources. And let's educate ourselves and share our knowledge within our community.
Yes, I love that. Especially want to emphasize on the education. That's what we do here at Youthtopia, is provide this platform for frontline change makers and passionate youth to come together and think of tangible action that we can do to speed up our process in meeting the goals for 2030. All right, Mutia, let's pass this question to you.
Okay, basically, I always use the 3-step of action. We call it aware, engage, and action. So the first thing we must aware is like Reyhan said about the conscious about the energy issues, about what is clean energy, what is bad energy, what is energy that we use, what is the share of the renewable energy, or what is electrification rate means. Everybody is I think nobody knows about it. So educated ourselves about clean and affordable energy, and try to figure out how much energy consumption in our daily life, like how much maybe Indonesia we know in the system like KWH in our homes like 1.300 and 900 something like that. But please just know and or ask your parents how much your energy consumption in our daily life. And the second thing is engage. Engage means you like a step forward, then aware. You start to join volunteering NGOs, or you make some NGOs, or you join some community to build the energy access, or you start to engage with the issues. And also don't forget to ask your right to the government that you have right to ask the clean energy. The last and the most important thing is action. So you can start with the efficiency energy in our homes, and like Reyhan said, don't forget to turn off your energy that you not use again, and maybe you can start to invest in renewable energy. Just for your information, in Indonesia, the solar PV, it's not that pricely more. We can achieve it, we can use it, we can get it from like Tokopedia or on Shopee or something, the commercial online shop, something like that. So I think it's time to us to more using the technology that efficient and also clean.
Love that answer. I hope everyone took note of that. Be aware, be engaged, and take action. We're all taking notes here. We're all here to learn. With that being said, let's pass it on to the next question from our audience, from Raquel. If you could turn on your camera and your microphone.
Yeah, so you both are running amazing projects, and I just wanted to know what are some challenges you faced when starting these projects, and what have you learned from them?
Maybe we can pass it on to Mutia first, and then Reyhan.
The challenge, like I said before, in Indonesia, the energy issues is like elitist issue, exclusive issue. So no, like when we talk about and we educate someone to talk about energy issues, it's like, what you are talking about? I don't know about it. It's difficult to giving understand to people that what is energy, because in Indonesia we have just one supplier of energy, and it's from the government. So it's like monopoly energy in Indonesia. So it's make everyone just like take it for granted, something like, okay, I just get the energy, I don't care about what energy coming from, something like that. So it's difficult from us to explain to the people the energy that we use in Indonesia, of course, is mostly from the coal power plant that have a lot of bad impact, not only for the environment, but also from the people. It's difficult because they not see the urban people and not feeling the harmness of the coal power plant. So it's difficult to us to explain that. But fortunately, there is the past 3 years, the energy issue is make some trend in Indonesia, and a lot of movies coming out. Maybe some of Indonesia knows about Sexy Killers. It's talk about how the coal power plant and what the politics behind the energy, something like that. So it's become easier to us to explain to the people about the energy. And the lesson learned that I learned and Nusantara learned is we must adapt it with the situation and also the channels. Like Nusantara now use TikTok to to educate, to educate the youth people in energy issues. We also like do dancing and do anything like to engage your people and to make energy issues is fun, or energy issues is not that hard, or energy issues is for everyone issues, something like that.
Thank you, Mutia, for that lesson learned for me here too, right? For all of us here in Utopia and maybe others here. Get creative, get creative to really overcome those challenges. Maybe make a TikTok, who knows, or something else. Hopefully that answers your question, Raquel. Let's jump to Reyhan. How about you, Reyhan? What are some challenges and lessons learned?
My challenges were when I started Raynergy. It was the stereotypes. First of all, it's not really the challenges that I face is not. There are several challenges on the development of the project, but also the challenges that I face mostly are the stereotypes. The people. And even the people that I really trusted, when I started this project, okay, you were just 14. Why are you just starting? Just go and, study. You have finals. This kind of, exactly, yes. So this kind of challenges that I faced. Also, when I, talk about the idea, and I saw that the people sometimes cannot be ready for the innovation. They are like, no, this has no potential. Okay, no, there is nothing such that, so you're not going to be successful. So there is some like this mindset in several people. So it's really sad to see. But I learned that, when you start something, you have to trust, you have to believe in yourself. And if you believe in the potential of your idea, then you have to continue on your way, and if you work really hard, you can make sure that everything will be brilliant and you can develop your idea so well. And also, regarding the development of the project, we face challenges regarding, the increasing the efficiency of the generator. And but with each prototype, we just try different methodologies to increase the access, to increase the efficiency of the generator. Like, for example, in our third prototype, we used the neodymium magnets to increase the efficiency of the generator, so that we can get much electricity from the same amount of rainwater. But generally, again, I want to say that the challenges that I face is as much more like the stereotypes. And I want to say that if you have an idea, if you believe in the potential of that idea, just go ahead and develop it, and everything will be great. Of course, you will change a lot of challenges throughout the way, but if you trust yourself and if you work really hard on your idea, then everything will be wonderful.
I love that. Thank you so much, Reyhan. Just respond, extending this question even more. And, I want to know more about your work as well in Raynergy. We have a question actually specifically for you from one Ulfa Dwi Putri. I think she, she wants to know more about your work, specifically in Raynergy. Maybe we can invite Ulfa
Well, I think
to.
I saw her. I
Yes.
saw
Did you see her
question the
question?
question.
Let's
Um,
let's see if we can unmute her and turn on her video.
I don't really know much about this device, but I was looking for it on Google, and I saw that this is like a device that collects rainwater. So I just want to know how does this work actually, because uh, as it collects the rainwater. So what if this when the summer season comes, like, yeah, I really want to know how this works actually. Yeah, just like
yeah.
that.
This is the
Yep. Thank
this
you.
is the most asked question when it's about rain energy. You know, when the sun, when it's not raining, how the device will work. This is the question that I mostly ask, the people ask about rain energy. Well, yeah, that's a great question, actually. Well, at rain energy, as I mentioned, it's now in the prototype stage, and we are, thinking of ideas how we can, just broad this idea and make it more efficient as a product, as a device. So also we think about this problem, when it's not raining, what's going to happen? So there's two scenarios in this issue. Like the first scenario, as I mentioned before, we can store this the amount of electricity so that people can use it when it's not raining. And also, in other scenario, we can make this device a hybrid. A hybrid is a system that consists of two, the energy resources. For example, we consist the rain generator with the solar panel, so it can work in both situations, like when it's sunny and also when it's raining. So we are, we have these ideas. Also, we can add the wind turbine to the device as well, so it can work in the sun when it's not raining and when it's windy. So these are the ideas that we are working on, and I think that this is the answer to your question. So yeah, if there is need to be much more explanation, I can do that.
All right, thank you so much for that. Let's pass it on to Sukma Pranastia from our audience. If you would like to turn on your camera and mic, that would be much appreciated.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for me. I have a question first, maybe for Mutia. What something have you done to gain people to join your great community? Because in my opinion, for creating a movement, even a community is kind of challenge for me, and it's important for us to have ability to convince people to join our community. And the second one for Reyhan, I'm so surprised that you are still 18 years old. And okay, I have a question for you too. Would you explain how to make young people to do the same like you? So young age isn't a barrier for us to do invention and to be an inventor like you. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Those are very good questions. Just before I pass it back to the speakers to answer, it would be great if you guys can keep it short and sweet so that we can get one more question before we wrap things up, because I can't believe we're already running out of time already, right? Time flies. So let's hear from Mutia first. Keep it short and sweet.
Okay, so what I do is the first thing I start with my circle. I start with my friend, I start with family. It's important because they know what exactly what I want. So I can like just inform to them, to my circle, to tell about what I want to make, like Enter Nusantara. And also the second is do something first. And then if you can do it, you can present it, people will join with you.
Lovely, short and sweet answer. Now let's pass it back on to Reyhan.
Hi, dear Sukma, so nice to meet you. Thank you very much for the great question. Well, I think the passion is very important, and to create this passion right now in my country, I'm trying to meet with young people at my age and younger than me, and trying to, by sharing my experiences and by sharing my journey with them, I'm trying to empower them, to be interested in the field of innovation, in entrepreneurship, and green technologies. So I think for the young people, to have some role models, that they look up to, and, doing some research, and it's very important. Also, kind of organizing some meetings with the people who have done something for the benefit of the society, and meeting with those people, and, hearing their experiences and journey is very crucial for them to be interested in this field. So I think it's very important, and I'm trying my best, to empower the young people in my country to, to really find themselves in this field.
Love that. I hope that answers your question, Sukma. Those are very good questions, of course. And I think, I'm really impressed by the answers by Mutia and also Reyhan, because it really represents and speaks true to what Youthtopia is also all about, right? It's all about community engagement. It's about really learning from one change maker to another, so that we can empower each other to make more communities out there, so that we can accelerate change, right? For SDG 7 and the other SDGs, of course. And I think we have a lot coming in soon when it comes to community building and learning those skills that Reyhan mentioned earlier, so that you can grow your organization and grow your skills. So stay tuned for more on that from Youthtopia coming real soon, right? But I think it's time for us to entertain one last question from our audience, actually. And I think we can invite Lily to ask her question. Lily, if you can turn on your video and unmute yourself, that'd be great.
Hello. Oh, it's not letting me turn on my video, but
no worries, we can hear you.
Okay, so
Awesome.
First of all, thank you, Mutia and Reyhan, for sharing. And my question is, what is the biggest myth when it comes to clean energy?
I love how Reyhan's like, ooh, that's a good one. Let's pass it on to Reyhan then, because it was instant. It was like, yes, go ahead, Reyhan.
Well, that was kind of sudden question. Maybe let Mutia answer this question first, and I'm just thinking for a minute.
No worries, right?
For a minute.
Safe space to learn here. How about you, Mutia? Would you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, the myth, right? The biggest myth about renewable energy in Indonesia is the myth is the renewable energy is expensive. If we compare with the coal power plant and calculate the environmental economic damage, it will more costly in a coal power plant.
There you go. Hope that answers your question, Lily. How about you, Reyhan? Are you ready to take on this question about myth of clean and renewable and affordable energy?
Well, I think I agree with Mutia. I'm so sorry, but I can't think of, the answer to that question, exact answer. But I agree with Mutia that it's expensive, and the people think that it's expensive and it's not sometimes affordable, but it's actually, as Mutia mentioned and compared, it's actually affordable. And yes, I'm sorry. Sometimes the mind can malfunction.
We're all human, Reyhan. It's all good. Again, this is a safe space to learn, right? It happens, it's fine. But I'm glad to know that you also agree with Mutia that we're all on the same page here, that at the end of the day, there is kind of no excuse for the government or for industry leaders to think that, oh yeah, again, to build that bridge, right? Is that it is not expensive. It is affordable. It can be affordable if we choose for it to be affordable, especially coming from the top. So thank you for that great question, Lily. And finally, you get to ask your speakers directly. Hope that answers your question. And I think, believe it or not, everyone, again, time flies when you're having fun, I guess, but we have to wrap up Unite SDG number 7 of affordable and clean energy. I guess before we wrap things up and do some group photos and everything, I just want to say thank you, of course, to our speakers and our audience for being very lively and being very active in the chat section. We really appreciate it. We see a lot of you, like Raquel, some returning audience members here, right? Of course, Balgista earlier, and so many more joined us tonight. And I guess just to recap some points that I learned, and I hope you all learned here tonight as well, and same goes to Emma. Right? I think we understand that at the end of the day, we really do need collaboration, intersectoral collaboration from the private, public sector, from the grassroots, everywhere, which is again pushed and emphasized by the need for education on this issue, whether it be in the individual level, at the sectoral level, national, global level. It all connects, and we need to raise awareness on this issue. And at the end of the day, again, it goes to action. This is echoing on the 3 points that was made by Mutia earlier, which were awareness, engagement, and action, right? We're already aware now from this event, right? We're already aware about new jargons, new concepts, and new ideas about clean and affordable energy. We're also already engaging with one another here, right? We have a speaker from Azerbaijan, we have Reyhan, we have Mutia, we have everyone coming in from around the world. And now it's time to do action, to take action on what is next, right? Hopefully you all have your own to-do lists. I have one right here on what to do for action, but that is what SDG 7 is all about. This is what Unite is all about. And hopefully you all can take that home. Well, we're all kind of home right now because of COVID-19, but hopefully you can take it out there and really accelerate the change that we need to see. So that's all from me. Emma, why don't you take this over and wrap things up?
Yeah, so I think we'll take the time right now to turn on our cameras. I invite you all to turn it on so we can take a cute group photo together.
Are we ready to take that group photo, everyone? Maybe pose, give a little smile.
All right. Thank you all so much for being involved and being engaged and being eager to learn and accelerate change for the 17 SDGs. Be sure to follow our Instagram if you haven't already, so you can keep up to date with our following 10 days. Wow. Time is flying past. And also don't forget to follow our awesome speakers as well as their organizations and the projects that they're working on. And I hope to see all of you tomorrow, day 8 of Unite. Day 8 tomorrow will be hosted by Esta again, featuring Yari Hasalabach, who is the founder of Speaksy. So SDG 8 will be discussing decent work and economic growth. And this will be on Instagram Live, so be sure to be ready for that. You do not want to miss it.
Yes, I'll be back. I know you must be bored of my voice and my face, but I'll be back on IG Live with Yari tomorrow. Stay tuned, follow our Instagram for more info on that. And as usual, terima kasih, or thank you Indonesian, and good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Reyhan. Thank you, Mutia. There's the poster right there. Take a screenshot and follow Youthtopia. Bye.